Hey everyone, welcome back to Brian's Mysteries and Adventures on Trail. And today's case is taking us to Rainbow Falls Provincial Park, which is located roughly 200 kilometers or 124 miles east of Thunder Bay, Ontario. It is located on Highway 17, which is between Schreiber and Rossport, Ontario, and it is located on the north shore of Lake Superior. And today we're going to be discussing the disappearance of Christina Calayca, who disappeared on August 6th of 2007 from this Rainbow Falls Provincial Park. Now, she was with a group that was a group of her youth group that they were from. It was a group that was from the Toronto area, and the group arrived around noon on Sunday, August 5th, and they set up their camp, they prepared, they got their stuff, just got ready to relax. Now, apparently nobody in this group were experienced outdoors people. They were all pretty much novices. Well, after they got done setting up their camp and getting their food ready to make for later, all the campers decided that they were going to take a nap. However, I guess they forgot to set an alarm, so they didn't actually wake up until 10:30 p.m. And Christina wanted to make up for lost time with her cousins and friends, so they had a bonfire. They made some more food and just kind of chatted into the night. Apparently, they didn't fall asleep until around 4 a.m. that night. But by 6:30 a.m. Monday, August 6th, Christina and Eddie, which was one of her friends from the church group, they were wide awake and they wanted to go running. But at some point, they decided to split up because Eddie wanted to run along the highway, but Christina wanted to explore the various park trails. Now, Eddie ran for roughly about an hour and he returned to the camp. Now, this was roughly at 7:30 a.m. and Christina hadn't made it back, so they all immediately began looking for her, and they searched for several hours, and when they failed to find her with that search, they contacted the authorities. Now, the Northwest Region Emergency Response Team, they came out and they used various canine units. They had 3 different helicopters, 2 fixed-wing aircraft. They had a float plane, approximately 120 police officers, specially trained civilians. I mean, this was a huge, massive search right from the beginning. The Ontario Provincial Police, or OPP as they're known as, they believed that Christina had maybe been attacked by a bear, but at the time they didn't find any evidence of, clothes or bones in any of their searches. So then they started believing that there was no foul play and she was just maybe like a lost hiker and she had just gotten lost somewhere in the park. Now, Christina was not known to be a rugged outdoors type of person, but she was very sweet. She was known to have like one of the best smiles. Everyone loved her. This was one of her first times jogging in the Rainbow Falls Provincial Park, and according to the OPP, they said it is one of the most rugged areas of the province. So they weren't sure why this group had picked this particular park, just because it is the most rugged, most thick, densely area of the province. Now, Christina was last seen wearing a blue hooded sweatshirt, a purple striped shirt, black pants, and running shoes, and nothing was ever found. Now, this search went on for almost 3 weeks, 17 days to be exact, but because the OPP found no actual clues, they didn't find any evidence, her family actually put the money out for 6 private searches. Now, private searches can cost up to $10,000 to $20,000 each because the aircraft, the helicopters, the drones, they all are very, very expensive, and they actually raised money through various volunteer groups. Search and cadaver dogs came in and they searched the heavily wooded parkland and all the different hiking paths. Still, they found nothing. And then later, almost a year later, in June of 2008, officers went back and started another search. And this search went on for over a week. The family was able to get a whole team of American and Canadian volunteers, fully with trained dogs. And at this point, it was they were looking for a recovery mission. That they were trying to detect her remains. They went into the park on June 13th, 2008. It was a Minnesota-based John Francois Foundation, which is a nonprofit group that supports searchers for lost hikers. And they helped the family plan all this. And unfortunately, even with all these added searches and all this added technology that they brought in to help, they still found no evidence and no signs of Christina. And this remains an open case to this day. Now, Sergeant Don Webster, who was the original Provincial SAR coordinator in charge of this case, and he was unfortunately the one that had to call off the search, the initial search, after 17 days. This is one of the cases that he just, says is stuck with him, but he has reviewed it, and he did go over the LPQ, or Lost Person Questionnaire, and apparently there had been a previous incident where Christina had been out with friends in the Durham region near Oshawa, and she had also gotten lost. They were able to find their way back, but based on that, and based on Rainbow Falls being such a dense and very rugged area, it could be very easily become lost on trail and get disoriented and not be able to find your way back. He says that he felt, quote, he reported that it was a very well managed search effort. The police and the friends and park employees, they were out looking for her within an hour of her not being seen. The police and SAR responded immediately with the numerous uniformed officers, ERT trained SAR plus canines. The search also then relatively quickly included helicopters, the fixed-wing aircrafts, divers, marine and trained SAR volunteers. Cadaver dogs were also brought out. So he doesn't believe that it was something like a bear attack or something like that. It's probably most likely someone that got turned around and lost in the big area, the thicket. He said that's assuming that she was still in the park. So there are other, theories. There are theories of that she could have been attacked by an animal. But most people are in contention that when that happens, especially with the amount of searching they did so fast and right after she went missing, there would be evidence of that. Not always, but the other big possibility is foul play, because the trail, apparently the trails are all very well marked, and only one other person has ever lost their way in the park. Apparently it was a woman in her 70s who was then found 9 hours later. Now, again, this is just what the park has reported. It seems odd to me that only one other person has gone missing there, but apparently one of the volunteer searchers, this guy named Matt Baratsky, he explained that the bushes along the trail in the park are so dense you could, quote, trip in there and not fall because the bushes would hold you up because they're so thick. He said that he thought, well, maybe if Christina had panicked, she left the trail and maybe went into the woods somewhere and her remains just haven't been found. Foul play is the biggest thing that people believe, especially her family. I know her mother believes that she was abducted from that park. Some people, they question why, maybe it was some of the friends or people with the group. They question why it took them almost 7.5 hours to report her missing to the OPP. But again, when things like this are going down, it's hard to judge things like that. And it's hard to know in these situations at all. The police did repeatedly interview all the people that were on the camping trip with Christina. And they, of course, interviewed Eddie numerous times, and they were all ruled out. Nothing came about. They were all ruled out as possible suspects. And, who knows? There could have been just one of those random things where she was running through the woods and met up with some horrible person, and that was it. Tons of visitors apparently that are drawn to this region for this park, and there's all kinds of various annual events that are held in the nearby area that unfortunately apparently draw some seedy people. So who knows? I mean, I know that after the search and rescue was called off, her mother, Elizabeth, has done an amazing job at raising funds to try and do more searches. And because Christina's remains have never been found, her mother believes that she was abducted and taken out of the park, which is a huge possibility. But unfortunately, the OPP insists that there was no foul play. It's not even a suspected in her case, so they don't even investigate it. Now, the government of the province of Ontario is offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to the whereabouts of Christina. And if you have any information about Christina's disappearance, please contact the director of the Criminal Investigation Branch, Ontario Provincial Police, at 1-888-310-1122 or 705-329-6111. Christina was only 20 years old at the time of her disappearance. She was described as a very mature, religious woman. She had gotten her degree in early childhood education from George Brown College, and she was working at a Catholic daycare. And she had told her mother just the week before she disappeared that she wanted to do missionary work in the Philippines before returning to be a university professor. And I just can't imagine what her friends and family are all going through. And I just hope that one day that we can bring them some answers and help bring Christina home. Of course, I want to dedicate this video to Christina, her mother, her friends, her family, everyone who knew her, and everyone who's been working so hard to try and bring her home. And my thoughts and prayers go out to all of you, and I just hope we can bring her home one way or another very soon. I want to thank you all for watching, and please be respectful in the comments if you choose to leave them. Special thank you to co.ag for providing the background music, and I'll see everybody in the next one. Take care. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking with me to the end. First, I want to apologize if anyone has sent me an email me or tried to contact me at that email address. I've been blocked out of it for a few weeks, so I'm not ignoring you. I'm still working on that. But if you have ordered a calendar, they've all gone out, so no worries there. And thank you all for all your comments and suggestions. And I always appreciate all your feedback, your constructive feedback, any comments you have for me. And if you would like to still order a calendar, I'll leave that information in the description as always, as well as I always am interested in hearing your theories on cases and videos. So please always feel free to leave me comments about that. And if you haven't already subscribed, I'd appreciate if you give me a chance and subscribe. But if not, I just appreciate you guys watching and hope everybody's week is off to a great start. And I will be doing the destinations again, like how I was at the end of each video. I've just been trying to get caught up on a lot of videos, but I will be doing the bucket list things again. So look forward to those. See you next time.